Just one session, but at least it was the representative one. How did you get to feel the grip? How did you get to grips with the car in these hot conditions?
Get to grips with the car. Good one. No grip. Yeah. Yeah, just difficult. Of course, took a few, like 1 lap, 2 laps to get into it, but I mean, still the gap was quite massive. So yeah, not entirely happy. Just struggling a lot with grip feeling in general. The balance wasn't too bad, but just off, and quite a bit of work to do. Also in the long run, we're just too slow basically. Every lap, and it was honestly not a lot of fun out there in the long run. So bit of drift practice there at the end as well.
It looked like you focused the whole session on the softs. Was that always the game plan, just to learn most about that tyre? Because I guess this is the one you need to learn more about.
It's just how we planned the run. From FP1 with Ayumu in the car, and then me in FP2, just to see how they would hold up.
And what do you make of the gap to the McLarens? Is that kind of where you think it is, or is everyone kind of...
Yeah, it's big. Yeah, so we did a bit of a different approach to our Friday, so I think this gap is very big.
Hey, Lando, as first days go, that didn't look too bad from outside. How did it feel inside the car?
Shocking. I think it was for everyone today, to be honest. Comparing to the test was a dream. This was horrendous. So yeah, I mean, difficult day, just readapting back to the reality of Bahrain, the difficulties of Bahrain, which make it tough or make it exciting on Sunday, because the degradation's incredible today comparing to the test. So it's kind of a weird day, because everything feels dreadful, but I think relatively, our place was still in a reasonable place. I think a reasonable Friday.
I like how you keep me on my toes. It's good, though, that if it is feeling dreadful, you are still able to get pace on the car. Have you got a few things or a lot of things to look at tonight to maybe hopefully make it feel less dreadful? Or is it down to the conditions?
No, I think it's just conditions. It's just the temperature. It's hot. It's windy. It's more the temperature which makes such a big difference, So it's what it is. It's the same challenges for everyone. Big challenge is how can you look after the rear tires in the best way possible. It's just a lot of it is like we came into this weekend with a lot of our information from the preseason test, but it's basically like throw all of that in the bin and just start again, because it's so different today. We're seconds off what we were doing, so difficult, but I think a good starting point to the weekend. Plenty of things for the team and myself to work on.
And for what it's worth, throwing that all away, you're still quite a few tenths based on the timesheets ahead of everyone else. So if it's going to feel awful, it'd be good to have that, at least have that gap over everyone else.
Yeah, I don't think they turned up. So everyone just looks at the timesheets. They have no idea about the information on who turns up, who doesn't. It's like 3.5, 4 tenths around here. So that puts us immediately back in the same position as the Mercedes. So at the minute, I wouldn't say we're any quicker.
Well, the pace looked encouraging, I thought, in second practice relative to where you guys have been before. So I know it's baby steps, but it looked like a step better at least.
Yeah, as I said, I'm trying to push into a direction that allows me to extract a bit more out of the car. But to be honest, the potential of the car remains the same, and we're just not fast enough. When we look at the McLaren, they are just on another planet for now. And so yeah, it's annoying, but it's the way it is, and it actually motivates me to try and close that gap as soon as possible, but they are incredibly fast. But it's been a tricky session because it's so much warmer than the test, and obviously you go into a session expecting the grip that you had at the test, and it's completely different. So we've got to readjust the car, and there will be a lot of work during the night to try and turn the situation around some more.
You had some upgrades here. I know that you're not trying to make too much out of them, but did they at least deliver what the team expected they would do?
They did. So that's positive, but unfortunately the gap to McLaren is still too big.
So is that a case of damage limitation, not just for tomorrow and Sunday, but until I guess you get the next set of upgrades, if you're kind of topping out on the car's potential at the minute?
Yeah, we've got to maximize the car potential that we have for now. If that means finishing 4th, 3rd, 5th, I don't know what that will be, but we'll have to take it. And I hope that at one point we'll be back at being the fastest car on track, and there it will be a matter of maximizing the car again, but for wins and not for P3 anymore.
And you mentioned McLaren being on another planet, but are you in the fight with Mercedes and Red Bull, do you think, if you get everything right?
With Mercedes, it seems that we are pretty much there. With Red Bull, it's a bit more difficult. I think Max only had one less tire compared to us in FP2, so I think he's probably a bit in front. But we've got to wait and see again. I think there's some performance still to be found on our side, maximizing the car, the upgrade, and we'll see where that leads us more.
Grip looked at a premium for everybody out there today, but you were at least topping the times. How are you feeling after that run in FP2?
Yeah, pretty happy, to be honest. I think the car felt like it was in a good place. FP1 was a very different story, so yeah, glad that everything came together a bit more, and I think the one lap pace looked strong, and the longer running looked reasonable as well. So pretty happy with that. You know, obviously still some things that we want to try and work on and make a bit nicer, but all in all, a good first day.
It looked like a pretty comfortable gap as well after the rest of the field. Were you surprised at just how big a gap it was?
Yes and no. I think for it to be quite that big was a bit of a surprise, but I think the others will find a bit more tomorrow. I think it'll be pretty close. So nice to have it now, but Bahrain's also a track that you can overtake on, and tire deg is a big factor. So qualifying here is still going to be important, but I think we need to make sure we've got a good race car as well.
And the early signs are that you do. I know you said it was kind of so-so, but early signs are that you do have a race car.
Yeah, I think we look decent. It's just everyone's degrading a lot. So I think we just need to look into the details and see how we can make that a little bit nicer. But yeah, I mean, it certainly wasn't too bad. So yeah, we'll try and make it even better tomorrow, and yeah, just be good on both fronts.
How you found today, especially FP2 with the more representative session?
Same old Fridays. It was fun. Quite difficult in the morning, as always, with the temperature being so high. The grip was terrible on the hard tire for the first run. There's quite a big shock from hard to soft, which was much better. But we made some changes, and car felt pretty decent in P2.
If we look ahead to qualifying and to the race, where are you guys focusing your attention? What do you feel like is more important, and where do you think you're going to end up sort of shaking out amongst the other teams?
Just consistency, just trying to get pulling the laps together, having a car that's easy to drive and that's consistent through the lap. At the moment, it's a bit different between low, medium and high, as you often have, and so we're just trying to finesse it, trying to tweak it, and then make sure that we have good long run pace, because that's where you need to be strong here, particularly.
You guys have also brought some upgrades this weekend. Any word on how they're feeling?
Yeah, the upgrade's definitely working, and big thank you to everyone back home for working so hard on bringing the upgrades, because it's never an easy thing. It's a lot of work that goes on in the wind tunnel, and a lot of work that goes on in fabricating and putting together these floors. So it's just good to see that we're taking steps forwards. Yeah, we're trying to now extract more from it. I hope that we can make the right steps overnight to tomorrow.
Can you just talk us through what was happening in FP2 there? It seemed like you won at one with the car.
Sorry?
Can you just talk us through what happened in FP2 there? It seemed like you weren't in tune with the car, perhaps. You were a bit lower down the standings than we'd expect.
Yeah, a bit of learning, I guess. I mean, it's a bit different also set up between across the cars to kind of see how the performance looks like. There's also a little bit, I guess, with that as well, but also just this session was pretty messy with the overall, being able to put it all together. Also, there was a lot of miscommunication between our side of the garage, in the radio, for example. I think that's the part of the learning process, because it's still, it's fifth session, from when I jumped in. So, but yeah, it was not obviously the finest session.
And so looking ahead to qualifying and to the race, how are you feeling?
I hope it'll be better. Have to be better than this. I'm sure we're gonna change a lot of things. And I mean, for now, I mean, it seems struggling, but at the same time, I know there are a lot more come from you know, cleaner operations, everything. So that's kind of freed up time. So I'm still feeling optimistic, but yeah, it will be hard for now to go through Q3.
Do you feel that from what you've seen from the data on both sides of the garage that the potential is there, it's just a case of putting it all together, or do you think that the car is not there?
Potential, wow, it's hard to tell, but like I said, it's different setup between us, but I know inside my feeling there's a potential, but it's just hard to extract it. And like I said, you know, I could have much better with the places that you know, lap time comes pre, which should make it much more smoother. We should make it much more smoother operation side, warm up. I don't know, the switches and everything was pretty messy overall today. So we just have to avoid this situation in the future. But yeah. Maybe me and Mayudi have to go out tonight and you know, build a relationship more.
Kimi, a really difficult day it felt from the outside for you. Just talk me through it, particularly in FP1.
Yeah, I mean, FP1 was quite short. Fortunately, I had an intercooler issue with the car, so I had to stop and couldn't drive for the rest of the session, which obviously was a shame because you know, you don't want to be wasting any laps. But I think, you know, FP2 was quite positive. Single lap, I felt quite good, even though I make a big mistake in sector 1, but overall I felt pretty good in the car. And long run was quite tricky, completely different to you know, what we had. The situation was completely different compared to what we had in the testing, so I needed to adapt. But overall, I think was despite the issue in FP1, was still a positive day.
Are you particularly pleased at the way that you were able to handle FP2 after that difficult FP1? Because it felt like you found your rhythm. I know you know this track, but it felt like you found your rhythm pretty quickly.
Yeah, I mean, definitely, you know, it's the fact that I know the track definitely helped. Probably in Suzuka would have been not as nice, but you know, definitely, I feel in FP2 straight away I had good confidence with the car, and despite the track is a lot different. But still, I had a good confidence and I was able to push.
On that single lap pace, do you think you can take the fight to Red Bull and McLaren tomorrow?
Well, McLaren seems to be still the favorite by quite a bit, but I think top 5 can be possible in tomorrow's qualifying. Definitely, we can take the fight to Red Bulls and Ferrari, but to McLaren seems a bit more difficult, but we'll wait and see until qualifying tomorrow.
Isaac, the pace looked good out there today. Talk me through it. How good was that in FP2?
Yeah, FP2 was good compared to FP1. FP1 was just didn't make any sense with how hot the track was, so it was not like reliable informations, I would say. FP2 was made much more sense, and yeah, on one lap pace again we were quite strong. I had a good feeling with the car. Still room for improvements, because I would say this was actually our first real session today. So yeah, a lot to look forward to tomorrow.
When the conditions cooled in that evening session, did the grip come back? Did it feel a little bit more drivable?
It was worlds apart, I have to say. This morning was really not enjoyable. Now it was back to pretty much F1 standards, I would say. Yeah, it was big difference.
How optimistic are you about being able to fight again for Q3 tomorrow?
I think I'm always optimistic, because I know I'm gonna put the work in tonight and tomorrow. But yeah, definitely we're still, I would say, in the mix. But it's gonna be a hard fight.
Were you surprised at the gaps around you? Because it looked quite close in that top 10 behind the McLaren.
Yeah. Actually, no, it's not surprising. It's what you would expect in the midfield. So yeah, I know tomorrow is gonna be about details.